Hello everyone and welcome to Half Beard's Hut's Heads Up. Today we have Worms Revolution, the latest Worms game from good old Team 17, coming out next week for the PC as well as Xbox 360 and I think PS3 as well. No, I'm not 100% sure on that. And yeah, they've made another Worms game. Basically, I'm going to show you some of the I'm going to show you some of the ancillary features, kind of show you what they got, and then we're just gonna play an old, good old classic game of Worms, because that's what, it's Worms, man. It's what you want to see. So first off, big thing about this game is classes. We'll go into that later. But they've kind of kept the old stuff you can remember. They got a landscape editor, so you can go nuts and make yourself a real big, crazy level, and get a nice little preview of it in 2D and 3D. Once the frame rate works, there you go. I've noticed this game can be a little, like, jittery. Save those letters. Save the levels. I don't think there's a good way to share the levels, unfortunately, but, whatever. 4 different themes, by the way. Get sewer, sewer, beach, spooky, and farmyard. And yeah, that's a level editor. No, we're not saving changes. You can edit the game settings for all the 3 different settings of the games. There's a forts mode, which is, 2 forts. The worms within them, you're trying to destroy the other worms. There's deathmatch, which allows you to use all the new classes and that sort of thing. And then there's classic, which is just a soldier class worm, which is your general worm. And then of course we've just got, you can go gin up your worms however you like. All sorts of dumb hats. Just oodles and oodles of hats, and you're gonna unlock more as time goes on. That trinket there they'll play with when they're not in use. The gravestone is obviously when they die. Get a victory dance, which when you win, that's what my guy's doing there. And then of course, because it's a Worms game, you gotta have lots of really crappy kind of voices.
One to the jokes. That's just for starters.
They're good.
Thank you. Oi! No. Hi, soldier.
But still kind of bad. And they've got a lot of them.
Hey, Happy. Shake hands.
I'm just used to the thespian.
I am undone.
They got the memes voice.
Oh, snap.
Which,
Hill Street. Swim. I can no swim. Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Yeah, that's gonna be what the people who are, griefing people online are gonna use. Online multiplayer, by the way, we're not gonna show that because I'm playing this before release. No one's playing it. It seems pretty basic though. Just, kind of standard ranked and player match, and just, death mode, forge classics, all that kind of stuff. Nothing really different in the multiplayer. And then single player modes, what we got for single player modes? You've got campaign, it's a campaign, which is really weird. They're basically just a bunch of Worms matches, so it feels like the levels are kind of pre-designed, so that way there's certain kind of like exploitables and destructibles in the environment that you can use to your benefit. They've been okay though. Honestly, they're totally not what I want in a Worms game. You kind of just want, that classic complete randomization and then skill in the middle. Not this, like, having actual levels is weird. And this game has a really long tutorial, an 8-level long tutorial that is just, it takes its goddamn time. Like, I probably spend an hour, like maybe, half hour to 45 minutes running through every level of that tutorial and not having any trouble. Just it takes that long. And then there's puzzles as well, which basically, puzzles, they give you a basic objective, you need to complete it. The one I've done so far, I only did one, and it was kind of like the tutorial mode where it was dead simple. But again, I mean, this all feels very ancillary. It's not what you're here for. What you're here for is just good old classic goddamn Worms. We're gonna play deathmatch, because it's essentially just classic with all the new stuff, and I want to show off the new stuff. But yeah, Worms. Alright. Let's do beginner, because I want to be safe. Let's do intermediate and watch me die. Why don't we add a couple Yorkie mix. Yorkie mix allows for a nice variety of players here. 3 teams ought to be enough, and yeah. Give me a random map. Okay, so let's go play some Worms. Big thing you'll notice, of course, when we get in there is that this is a 3D Worms game. In terms of look, like not in terms of playstyle. I mean, Worms something. can't remember the name of the last Worms game, but it was also a 3D Worms game. It was a 3D Worms game, like the 3D environments, and it didn't quite work very well. This is, you know, still good old 2D environments, but 3D rendering, which I think looks okay. It looks a little weird, honestly. So yeah, I've got my team. I've named them all after various Latin terms for classes and subclasses and phylums within the Earthworm family, because I'm a fucking nerd. Let's see. Guys up there, let's deal with them. This is not gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. Oh! Well, I didn't kill myself, so that's good. Not a ton of good physics items kicking around, but let's see. We're in the spooky setting, by the way. So, like, if I were to destroy that vial, probably, it would explode into poison. There's, you know, poison stuff. Or if that barrel, obviously, over there, that's going to turn into, oh, that's not good. That's going to turn into fire. Water is around, and you can drown in water, but water can also kind of slide you if you're on a slant, and you can use that to, just, you know, drop guys and, roll them into the water. Kill them that way. There are options, is what I'm trying to say. Oh yes. Look at my bad Latin puns. I'm the worst kind of person. So I guess I should talk about the various classes. What? My guy that just got hit there is a scout. So here, let's talk about what we got here. The guy I'm controlling right now is a scientist. Controls basically the same as the other breeds of worms, but what he can do is, let's see what we're gonna use here. Here, I want to show the water stuff. But what he can do is every turn he'll give everybody 5 health. So as you can see, it'll just drop some water around there, and as you can see now, he's stuck there. And if you're in the water, you'll drown. You'll lose some health. Let's see. This is just a normal Surge worm. They're worms. They're the same worms you've been using forever. Worms. Let's see. Find some other guys here. That big guy is the heavy. He moves real slow but has some extra health, and he's useful in that he can. He's just, you know, he's more of a brute that way. And then lastly, you have the scout who's up there. Can't really focus on him very well. Maybe there's another. Yeah, this guy looks like he's got a scout as well. No, that's a normal guy. Where's another scout? Maybe Nut there is a scout. Maybe. He looks like he might be a scout. The thing with scouts is they move quite fast. And they, like, when they jump, they can go really far, which is handy. They also, depending on their size, they'll get more or less time when they're using the jetpack or something like that. So there's different advantages to using different kinds of worms. So generally, I've found that the classic doesn't matter too much because worms have always been rather disposable in my eyes. You know, they're just soldiers. I've always kind of liked the more aiming aspect of just basic old worms. So whatever. It's a neat feature though, and it's something to kind of vary up the good old worms formula. Okay, let's get those blue guys below me. Why don't we try the sentry gun? This is new. I don't know how this works exactly. Oh, can I get it to turn around? No? That's a pity. I was kind of hoping maybe... No. Alright then. Hey, I'm not great at worms. So it looks like he's been poisoned. So he's gonna lose some health. Probably got that from hitting the, Yeah, so he's losing health. Yeah, unfortunately, whenever you pick AI, the AI have terrible voices. They have the terrible robot voice. So if you're playing Classic, they don't. Which is nice. I think these environments are kind of cool, though. Like, there's lots of stuff going on in the background. There's animals and stuff moving around. It's kind of hard to see because this is a map that's got a lot of stuff in it, but if you kind of look through the back there, you see all sorts of stuff going on. The beach level and the sewer level in particular, you can see all sorts of cool stuff happening. I think maybe a better variety of levels would have been nice, but oh, that's not good. Okay, what do we got? None of these are useful. Oh, you know what? Where's my teleport? There we go. Let's see. Teleport myself over here. Pick up those weapons crates. Beauty is with it doesn't work with the teleport, but with some of the other transport weapons, you can act afterwards. I don't know. It's been a while since I played Worms extensively. I kind of don't remember what's new and what's old at this point. Like, I played a bit of Worms Armageddon, but not enough that I actually remember anything about that game. The AI does tend to take its sweet time when deciding moves, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Oh. Yeah, that's right. The AI, also, you know, weirdly efficient.
Alas, alack.
Makes me feel like an idiot when I play this game. There we go! That worked wonderfully. I guess it's just a during your turn thing. So that was a good drop then. I'm happy with that. Alright. Yep. Okay. These guys are still annoying. So why don't we drop a good old cluster bomb? Yay! There we go. I managed to do something that was completely useless for once. Awesome! So yeah, I mean, like they've added to, you know, some basic stuff with the classes, and there's a single-player mode and stuff like that, but it's still kind of just Worms. I mean, there's the water, that's new, but it's still kind of just Worms. I will say, I think the water adds an interesting aspect. I don't think the water looks very good. It's rather like you can kind of see it over there. It very much flows in balls, like because it's 2D water is always kind of weird. It always kind of moves in an odd way. You can see it does that weird thing where it kind of like rounds up on the edges in a way that doesn't quite make sense. Oh, I didn't notice that. We're getting a little window through and there's something over there. There's a frog over there. Yeah, I like these see-through stages. I think these stages look really nice. Like, I think this is a perfectly serviceable Worms game, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, I guess it's my turn. I bet I could do this. Just kind of... I was kind of hoping he might go through the hole, but I guess not. Whatever. I don't plan to win this game. I'm here to explain things. But yeah, this feels like a perfectly serviceable Worms game. I like a lot of the ancillary stuff around it, even if I feel that's completely unnecessary. The basic kind of premise in terms of story is that there is a nature documentarian by the name of Don Keystone who has been disgraced as he has lots of really dumb, crazy ideas about animals. His current one being that worms are evil maniacs, which, hey, guess what? That one might be right on the money. And as a result, you get some really good dialogue before intros of him talking to the worms. And that's all written by Dean Wilkinson, who's done a lot of work on the Little Big Planet series, as well as I want to say he worked on Buzz as well. And it's all pretty good. Which, you know, there's that. It's also the actual quality of the VO is pretty good. Is really good as well by done by Matt Berry. I can't remember what he's done, but he's done stuff. So yeah, I mean, like, again, the wrapper this game is in is fine. And I like Worms, like the core Worms gameplay still totally works, but at the same time, I just feel like they're, you know, it's very much gilding the lily. I did, like, the classes, all that single player stuff, it's just like, I didn't need that. I was kind of happy with just Worms. I don't know why I'm picking on this guy, but fuck you, buddy. Oh, that could have gone better. Oh, but at least I did some damage. There's something. Is there any yellow guys left? Yeah, there's a couple yellow guys left. Though, I'm gonna drown. think the music's pretty good. Like, yeah, it's a fun game. I just don't know if it's really any better than any of the other Worms games. Like, I feel like you can kind of get what you wanted from the other Worms games. This is just like, do you want a bit more of a visual? Do you want more do you want new graphics? Do you want all that kind of stuff? I mean, if you're fine with the 2D aesthetic of, you know, Worms Armageddon, or hell, even the original Worms, I don't really, well, honestly, actually, the original Worms probably don't need to go back to. I mean, that game's a little rough to look at now. But like Worms Armageddon and stuff like that, like really nice 2D art in those games. I don't really feel like it's super big deal to, you know, go past those. This just feels like it's good. It's just like unneeded. Whatever though. I mean, it's fun. I think it's a good game. I think if you're a big Worms fan and you've kind of dealt with all that stuff, you might just be wanting a new one just for kind of have the latest additions so you can do multiplayer with more people and stuff like that. So, you know, there's reasons to play this game. I just don't know if I personally want to would upgrade. I think this is a fine game, just, you know, weird, unnecessary. Yeah, I don't know. I like what they've done with physics objects. That's good, and I like what they've the background. I feel like I'm just repeating myself while waiting for my turns to come up. Yeah. I think good on Team 17 for actually doing something new. You know, they could have just done another 2D Worms game. They've certainly put a lot of work into this. That's very clear. I just don't know if I need the classes and the single player stuff. I think it's kind of might be feeling. Well, it's what I've been feeling as I play through this game. It's like I don't really feel like the classes add that much. Oh, I'm gonna die. That's gonna kill me. That fall is gonna destroy me. No. Huh. That seems incorrect. Whatever. Oh my god. Teleshield, prod. Why don't I? I've not got to try this, so. Yeah, there you go. Flamethrower. Yeah, like I think the classes are neat, but I don't really feel like it's, you know, you're not gonna play with the class and be like, oh, I could never play Worms again. Like it totally changes the way the game works. It's just like, it's a neat little thing, but it does not feel necessary. And the single player campaign is fine, but again, like, I mean, even single player, just what I'm doing now, basic Worms is a lot of fun. I feel like making structured levels out of it isn't really what I wanted. Just Worms, just more Worms. That's kind of all I wanted. That's what works. I mean, this is cool. Like, I think this is definitely worth the $15 if you're a big Worms fan and you want, you know, and you just want more. But I just don't know if it's really the thing for what Worms is, for just like, you know, as a true evolution of the franchise. What do I want to do here? Man, it's we're not in an open-ended area, and I could use something like that. Gotta use the sheet. No, I was kind of hoping I would do more, but whatever. Always gotta use the sheet. I'm sure holy hand grenades are in here somewhere. I know banana bombs are here. A lot of the classic weapons are in this game, so no reason to worry about that. The new stuff is pretty much just all the water stuff. There's also a plug hole which you can use to kind of get rid of water in a sealed area. The stick up, which you can use to steal stuff from your opponent's inventory, and a wrench, which you can use to repair damaged sentry guns and to repair damaged physics objects, because those physics objects can break. What did you do to me? Am I that dead? Oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention there. I was reading the Steam page. Yeah, those Worms. That's kind of all there is to it. Like, it just feels like everything they've added is just so minor that. Yeah, there's one guy. Oh, that said, I mean, having a single-player campaign is nice, at least. Like, That certainly is one thing you could say for the other games, is that they kind of lacked a really good single-player option, and now having something is kind of useful. Whether it's necessary is another, is a completely different story for debate. It's a completely different, up for debate, but,
By my heel, I must momentarily depart.
Oop, that's gonna kill me. That was too much momentum on that. So yeah. Well, one dude left. Why don't we just watch him die? And talk more about worms, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like a good purchase for basic Worms fans. Actually, no. It seems like an okay purchase for basic Worms fans. It seems like a good purchase for people who are looking to get into the Worms series. I think if you've already been a big fan of the Worms games, you're probably going to say, I don't know why I paid $15 for this, I already have Worms Armageddon. And you know what, that's a totally valid point. I think for those people, it might not be worth the full-on 15 bucks. That is a bit much for what is essentially just Worms with a 3D coat of paint. For as nice as the paint may be, it's basically just, 3D coat of paint. Those people should wait until this game's on sale. Even just to drop to 10 bucks or something like that, because it's not super necessary. I think for people who are looking to get into the Worms franchise, I think this is a great starting point, as it's gonna be the one with the most kind of fresh people, it's gonna be the one with the freshest audience. It's got a lot of interesting mechanics you can work with that aren't necessarily present in the other Worms games. So I feel like I feel like this is a good option for those people. But not to say it's not missing a few things as well. Like, you'll notice the fire. It doesn't feel like the fire really destroys the environment anymore. The fire actually eating through the environment was something that happened a little bit in Worms Armageddon 2, I think, when they introduced fire mechanics, which I thought was a cool aspect, a cool way to kind of use fire to shoot through guys. But it's not really a thing here. So yeah. And yeah, that's Worms. I like it, I guess. It's certainly an interesting version of Worms. It's a really weird mix of kind of like the classic Worms formula and a lot of weird new ideas that generally work. I think the water stuff works really well, and I really like what they've done with the environments in terms of the 3D. I don't think the worms themselves play as well in 3D as one might like. But basic gameplay is still the same. It's just there's a lot of ancillary stuff that doesn't really feel super necessary. I feel like in terms of Worms games, like recent Worms games in general, I don't really feel like this is the best one. But you know what? If you've either played so much Worms Armageddon and Worms Armageddon 2, and I guess Worms, whatever the last one was, Blast or whatever. There was one after Worms Armageddon 2, and between Worms Armageddon 2 and this that I can't remember the name of. If you've played so much of those games, you just can't come back and play, can't go back and play those anymore. Get this, it's more Worms. You'll get more, more levels, more goofy bullshit accessories, and more weapons. And it's great. It's great for that. It's a great Worms game. If you have those games and you're still kind of fine with those games, I don't really see a huge need to upgrade. I think the water is interesting, but it doesn't really add something that I feel was direly missing. I think the classes are a unique feature, but again, they don't really add anything. It feels kind of just like a weird twist on Worms that I don't really feel improves upon basic Worms. Like, I still feel like basic just 4 soldier worms versus 4 soldier worms is more entertaining. And the single player stuff, it's nice to have. Like, I actually think I think it's cool that they have this campaign, but like, there's not really, I mean, the Worms, it's not really something that needed a narrative. And it's not really all that, just amazing. It's fine. It's totally well done VO and script writing, but it just feels like it's like well done. It's for something that doesn't need it. It's like, when you see a commercial that's really well made, you're like, that's an awesome commercial, but why did they make that commercial so well? So here, I'll show you a little bit of Don Keystone here. These were all obviously trailers, and they've just got this in the options menu, so kind of show you a bit of what the guys sounds like at the very least.
This is a public information film, or if you're common, fill 'em. Be on the lookout for these 4 worms: Soldier, Scout, Scientist, and Heavy. They are highly dangerous and extensively trained in the art of brutal combat and vicious one-upmanship. As a wildlife documenter, I have devoted my
it's
life
very
to
much
exposing
like
the
Sir
truth about
Hammerlock
nature.
from Borderlands 2.
I'm the one who discovered
Obviously, they
chickens
came up
can
with
fly.
those ideas
They
simultaneously,
chose not to
but
because
still,
they're
that's
arrogant.
kind of what I'm getting at. A very,
Over the years,
classic
I have observed
British
this breed of
hunter,
worm, Wormius
British Australian-y
fisticuffus,
kind of hunter,
indulging in
nature
cold,
documentary,
calculated
nature
warfare
documentarian sort
for
of
no
thing.
other reason than its brilliant fun.
It's obviously Super Sheep are still in here.
Their aptitude for creating elaborate weaponry
So yeah,
is nothing
as
short
you can
of
see,
gruesomely
lots of different
inspiring.
levels.
Airstrikes, grenades,
Lots of cool stuff, but
and
again, like,
exploding
it's
sheep have always
just
been a
fucking
staple
worms,
in
man.
their repertoire of death.
I don't feel
But
like
now
it's
they have
like they
adapted
need to
and
add this
upgraded
stuff. I don't
their
feel like it really
arsenal.
adds that
Their new
much.
weapons push the boundaries of good taste and dark
That's it.
humor
I actually
to places
like. I
that
think the
belong
water's
in
fine.
the
I can
fragmented
finish a new
mindscape
aspect, but
of
I don't
an
think it really adds
emotionally
anything
dangerous
super
ventriloquist
interesting.
dummy.
The water does add something, though. Like I feel
I
like it is an
imagine,
interesting
like the
enough
World
addition.
Wildlife Fund didn't believe me that pandas secretly
I
played
think these
jazz.
environments look really
you
good.
don't believe me
As
either.
you can tell here, that they're
This
kind of do
is
some
a
interesting
virtual
stuff. The
portal
backgrounds are really
into the
alive,
world
which
of
is
these
nice.
fanatical
There's
worlds.
your holy hand grenade.
Interact. Play their war games in single or multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
Even go online if you think you're hard enough. Just get it and spread the word.
I don't really,
My gorgeous
I
velvety
don't really see the
voice will
point.
be
I
with
guess
you
is what I'm trying to
throughout
say.
the whole Bally show to guide
don't
and
let that stop
infuse
you.
Here's a motto to start you off. Learn what I've learned, for in the arena of combat, the worms have turned. I own that, and it's going on a t-shirt.
Yeah, there's some good writing there. Like I honestly, that's probably one of the best parts of this game, aside from just the fact that it's fucking worms, is that writing and that the VO is all really well done, and you'll like that stuff. That's always good. But it feels like a weird. It feels like a weird way to do this game. Like it just feels like they're adding a lot of stuff that's totally unnecessary. Anyways, that's Worms Revolution. As always, this has been Half Beard Tut. We're out.